Welcome to 100 Yards of Football. Today is our NFL Draft Special and our team special. The Dallas Cowboys and TJ Sanders, defensive tackle out of South Carolina. If you like the video today, please come and share. We surely appreciate it here on 100 Yards of Football. I'm your host, Vincent Turner. Joining me today is our special guest, our NFL Draft Insider, and by way of the Dallas Cowboys, as he covers the Dallas Cowboys, my man, Mr. Avis Patel. Before we get started today, I'd like to give special thanks to our producer, Mr. Logan Landis. So enjoy the video today as we talk about TJ Sanders, defensive tackle, South Carolina. One thing I want to say before I pass it out to Mr. Patel, the Dallas Cowboys. I've been a fan for, I would say, almost 60-some years. I'm 64 years old, and I've been a fan ever since I was 6 years old. The one thing I don't understand, when the Cowboys had all their success in the 90s and they won 3 out of 4 Super Bowls, they had a lot of great defensive linemen, and they was very stout in the defensive line. Russell Maryland, Leon Lett, Chad Hennings, Jimmy Jones. And for the grace of me, since Jimmy Johnson stepped down as the head coach, the Cowboys have not drafted a quality D lineman. So today, we're going to talk about TJ Sanders, a very athletic pass rushing demon, defensive tackle out of South Carolina. Take it away, Mr. Patel.
You're right, Mr. Vincent. We have not drafted well in that side of the ball. The thing is, with Taco Charlton being a bust, with Mazi Smith still a work in progress, it's just difficult to find these talented people coming up. Okay. But the thing is, it boils down to the coaching staff and how well you're able to coach them, right? When you consistently change defensive coordinators year in, year out, it's hard to develop these cats, right? And that's where we're at the moment. And right now, Osa Odigizua is probably our best defensive tackle. He's a great nose tackle. That's the one home run we have hit. And of course, Micah Parsons on the edge. But other than that, there are no big names that we have actually been able to develop. But I really like TJ Sanders. I think he's very underrated player from South Carolina. He was only a 3-star recruit, but he played like a 5-star. Okay. In the past 2 years alone, he's improved tremendously under Coach Shane Beamer. At 6'4", 297 pounds, he's a little bit undersized, but he's really disruptive, right? He has a great blend of size, skill, and athleticism that I feel like will really translate well to the next level if he's coached and developed well. He does have a great build, 34-inch arm length. Okay, and there's a quickness about him that makes him very explosive off the first step, and that's very rare to see in modern day defensive tackles. Because a lot of the times they need space, they need time to create that space and get their bull rush in to put some pressure on the quarterback. He has a low center of gravity, which kind of allows him to be effective in his bull rush. That kind of helps collapse the pocket as well. And you pair that up with, let's say, DeMarcus Lawrence and Micah Parsons, I think that does wonders for the Cowboys defensive line. And against the run too, he uses his length, has great hands to kind of penetrate gaps and get around the blockers. That helps with the run game. And he's a great anchor on the inside runs as well, which is where Cowboys got beat tremendously last year, especially if you see against the Eagles in that last game with Saquon rushing for over 200 yards. You can just tell that it was just not a good showing. And where he has his best quality is he keeps his base and his body kind of steady and gains momentum to get to the running back. And playing in South Carolina system where you're playing with Kyle Kennard and Dylan Stewart, who are both All-Americans on the side, and to still have production that he did this year, I think it's tremendous. Just by looking at the stats in 2024. You're talking about 48 total tackles, 7 tackles for losses, 4 sacks, 28 total pressures, 20 run stops. He had 30 run stops the year before, but that just shows that this man can generate production even while there are all pros players playing around him. And that has a lot. South Carolina had a great defense this year too. They had a number of not only All-Americans, but also first-round picks that are going to be on this defense. And that's why I really like TJ Sanders. He was able to make a name for himself on a stacked defense, and that's really, really hard to do. What do you think?
Out of Marion, South Carolina, when you look at this young man, and I looked at his film and watched him play a little bit this past year in the Southeastern Conference, he's got a little bit of John Randall in him. Help me out here, Mr. Patel. You got a little bit of John Randall. Remember this player that came out of University of Georgia that was a really outstanding football player, Mr. Logan Landis, remember him? And he had an outstanding career with the Cincinnati Bengals, Geno Atkins. Same similar bill, guys that were very athletic on the inside. And I'm not saying that TJ Sanders is going to be the next John Randall, but when you look at his size, you look at his height, you look at the explosion, he's got a little John Randall in him. And then you look at all the defensive linemen that came out of South Carolina that's performed pretty well at the next level in the National Football League. Can I say John Abraham? He was a guest here on 100 Yards of Football. I think he was a very special player. Can you say Kalimba Edwards, who's out of the locally where we broadcast out of the Atlanta area that played at South Carolina, outstanding football player. And back in the day, Andrew Promise. All these guys are similar, undersized a little bit, but one thing they got that Mr. TJ Sanders is keeping that tradition of South Carolina going, explosion with inside coming off the D-line. Final words about TJ Sanders today, Mr. Patel, here on 100 Yards of Football.
Yeah, I think his abilities there, his skill sets is there, but more than that, I think he's a good scheme fit for the Cowboys with having the new DC Matt Eberflus. He likes to run his own defense, and that's more on the back end, right? So it puts a lot of pressure on the defensive line to generate pressure for us to have success in his own defense as well. And this is a 3-technique player that's going to really fit in well with the Cowboys in his scheme. And because of lack of depth on the defensive line as well, I feel like we need to draft a defensive tackle to kind of shore up that defensive line and kind of help the defense out in the back end. And this will free up the linebackers as well to kind of either act as a spy or be better in coverage, or even in blitz situations where he's able to take up that double team and open up one of the lanes for one of the linebackers or the pass rushers, right? So I think this is going to be a tremendous draft pick. Even if it's not TJ Sanders, just a defensive tackle is an urgent necessity for the Cowboys in the long run. And other than that, yeah, like I said, that because he's done so well in a system in South Carolina where he's played with tremendous talent and he's still able to make a name for himself, the Cowboys are in a similar situation with DeMarcus Lawrence and Micah Parsons on the edge. And if he's able to come down the middle with Osa Odigizua on the other side, who just got paid $80 million, by the way, I think this will be a great addition to the Dallas Cowboys defense that will help not only our cornerbacks and safety out, but also help the linebackers out in the long run.
If you liked the video today, please come in and share it. We surely appreciate it here on 100 Yards Football. Special thanks to my producer, the very talented Mr. Logan Landis. I'm Vincent Turner. Thank you for our guest today, Mr. Average Patel, Dallas Cowboys football insider, NFL draft insider. Y'all be blessed here on 100 Yards of Football. Cowboys need to draft a D lineman. It's a shame. I haven't drafted a D lineman since 1996. Be blessed here on 100 Yards of Football.